It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning as we continue to break down the last handful of days before Christmas. Another extremely busy Australian property market, and you can just about guarantee that happens every year. It is a Tuesday, December the 16th, and what has happened in Bondi has shaken Australia in a way that we haven't really felt since Port Arthur. Different events, different motives, but the same gut punch reality. Mass violence erupting in a place that people considered to be safe. And it's a reminder that no matter how peaceful a country is, violence can surface without warning in a shopping strip, at the beach, during a celebration. It's a wound that Bondi Beach in Australia is going to live with for decades to come. And extremism, unfortunately, we know it is out there in the world. New Zealand faced it in 2019 with their mosque massacre. We certainly didn't expect another one on Sunday, but it happened, and we were only talking about Bondi on Friday, in which that conversation was all about positivity. I could not have imagined where we would land in conversation this week about Bondi. How people have this kind of hatred in them is beyond comprehension. But one thing that I do know, Aussies will rally and come together, especially around those families directly affected in this tragedy, with support and compassion, and hold strong, hold tough, because Aussies care and know how to look after each other in these types of senseless, violent acts.
Listen to expert perspectives with exclusive real estate conversations and supercharge your knowledge base with us.
Well, today we are going off to Dubai for a breakdown on 2025 property prices, not only in Dubai, but some of the other Emirates. Now, I just want to give you some context to the dollars that we're going to be talking about, because if you break down 500,000 Australian dollars in local money, that breaks down to 1.2 million dirhams. And there are some cheap examples that we're going to be giving. For example, buying in local currency and spending 350,000 local money. Now, that is converted into Aussie dollars of just over $122,000. So we're going to look at the 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartment market, and we'll also look at the capital of Abu Dhabi prices, also other Emirates like Sharjah and Ajman for better value. So let's go to Mario Volpi, our expert resident on the ground in the UAE, and let's kick off with Dubai. And for people trying to make sense of the apartment market, you know, from the affordable areas like International City and Discovery Gardens through to the mid-market sizes of JVC and Silicon Oasis, and then up to the premium districts such as downtown and the Palm, as well as the Marina. There are people, nurses perhaps, builders, you know, these people that are looking for these cheaper stock options. And you want to start us off in areas like International City, Discovery Gardens, and some parts of Dubai South with those price points.
Yeah, that's right, Craig. And just to add to that, there are also teachers. I mean, education is a very big growing sector here in the UAE and Dubai especially. Teaching staff need somewhere to live, and often they look for the more affordable areas. So if we start with the 1 bedroom range, in the areas that you've mentioned, you're looking for purchasing power of around sort of 450,000 going up to 700,000 for a 1 bedroom. The 2 bedrooms, they start probably around 700,000 and go up just over the million mark. Now, these are practical value locations where unit sizes tend to be a little bit smaller, but the price per square foot is actually low.
Yes, and if you are perhaps a couple or you are married and you've got those 2 joint incomes coming in, perhaps you might be looking at the mid-market tiers. And what have you got for us here?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, the mid-market locations probably would encompass locations like JVC, Dubai Silicon Oasis, JLT, and Arjan. Now, Arjan is an up-and-coming area. Now, if we look at one-bedroom prices for sale, they would start around the sort of 850 mark and probably go as high as just over 1.2 million. For the two bedrooms, I would say you're probably looking around 1.2 all the way up to about 1.8 million.
And if you're doing pretty well for yourself, you might be coming to Dubai with a business. You might have a successful business offshore. Let's look at some of the premium stock.
Yeah, premium stock, there's no surprises there. You're looking at downtown with the Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, Palm Jumeirah, my favorite one, Dubai Marina around the corner from where I live, and indeed Emaar Beachfront. We could probably add also Blue Waters Island there. Now, for the one bedrooms, you're probably looking at around 1.2 all the way up to around 2.1 million, but you've got to really scout around to get the lower end of that range. And with downtown and the Palm is probably more at the upper end of those areas. Now, for the two bedrooms, it's a bit more difficult, as there would be a large variance in prices for sea views or indeed penthouses. But generally speaking, I'd say you're probably looking around 2 million to start, going all the way up to sort of 4 million plus. Now, prime waterfront and Burj Khalifa views obviously sit well above these sort of city averages, but they're in a different market bucket altogether. So market trackers put average apartment prices for Dubai this year in the region of around 1.4 to 1.6 million overall, but prime districts, they skew this figure much, much higher.
Now, let's shift our attention to Abu Dhabi when it comes to the price spread, because it is pretty wide. There are budget-friendly pockets along with mid-tier areas like Al Reem and Khalifa City A. So kick us off here, Mario, some of those most affordable areas.
For Abu Dhabi, then, the most affordable areas are the Musafa outskirts, Najmat and Al Bahia fringes. In these locations, the prices range from around about 350 going up to around 550,000. And these for the one bedrooms. For the two bedroom apartments, you're talking probably just over 550,000 going all the way up to 900. The mid-tier locations, yep, you're right. Khalifa City A, Al Reem Island, and also areas called Al Nayan, where the prices for one bedrooms would start around 600 and go up to probably around 850. Now, for the two bedrooms, it's going to be between 900,000 up to around 1.4. Recent transaction numbers for the first half of this year show that Al Reem one bed sales are moving in the sort of close to 500 to 700 band. Now, for the top tier, I would quote Saadiyat Island, Al Khalidia, Prime Towers, Western Corniche, specifically the Nation Towers. Here, the one bedrooms would be from around 850 to around 1.6 million. And if we then turn our attention to the two beds, you're probably looking around 1.5 million all the way up to 3 million plus. But for prime waterfront, I would say it would be Saadiyat Island and the Corniche locations. These would be the trophy assets and trade as a premium to the sort of city's median prices.
Yeah, I think one of the really interesting things for me in 2025, especially with the amount of emails that we have been getting from people, is the fact that they realise that Dubai has been getting more and more expensive, hence the reason why people have been going into Abu Dhabi. But they're now prepared to look even further outside of these two Emirates, which is why we're going to talk about Sharjah and Ajman, because we have been talking about especially Ajman this year, because these two Emirates, they do continue to surprise buyers with just how affordable they still are. Sharjah, that does range from older industrial fringe areas right up to waterfront towers like Al Majaz. So yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about here, Mario.
Yeah, there's something for everyone in Sharjah. And for the listeners who don't know, Sharjah is the emirate that abuts Dubai, actually. And so a lot of people tend to live there and then commute to Dubai because clearly the prices are that much cheaper. But of course, then they have to face the curse of the traffic, of course. The most affordable areas in Sharjah, as you say, are in certain industrial areas, such as Old Al Khan fringes and some parts of Muwale. Now, here the prices for one bedrooms, they range from a really affordable 250,000 dirhams up to around 420. And then the two beds from around 350 up to 600,000. So as you can see, really, really good value for money there. If we look at the mid-tier locations, I would say Al Majaz, Al Nahda, which is actually right on the border of Dubai and Sharjah, Muwale again, and some parts of Al Zahia. Here, the one bedrooms would start a little bit higher. They start around the 420 mark and go up to around 700. And the two bedrooms start around sort of 657 and go up to around the million mark. Now, Sharjah does also have premium locations, and the best locations would be, in fact, Al Majaz Waterfront, Al Zahia Premium Towers, and Al Khan Corniche, within the sort of newer towers, I would say. Now, here the one bedrooms would start around 600 up to 900,000, perhaps even touching the million, and the two bedrooms from around the sort of 1 million mark all the way up to 1.6 million.
So let's have a look at the cheapest one bedrooms, which can be found in older blocks or apartments on the outskirts of town. Now, Mario talked about 250k in Sharjah. How would you like to buy into a one bedder for 180k, between that price and 320? And then if you look at the two bedders, still pretty good. 300k to 450. I know that that's probably piquing people's interests, Mario, because they are very motivated by price point, and you've got further breakdowns.
Yeah, I mean, these are sort of real-time prices, but don't think that they're going to remain at this level forever. With better road infrastructure, which is coming throughout the whole of the Emirates, because let's not forget, from, let's say, Dubai to Abu Dhabi, obviously that's improving. From Dubai going all the way to Ras Al Khaimah through Sharjah and Ajman, roads are being improved, and therefore the time to commute from one to another is getting smaller. So as people come and move to the smallest emirate of the UAE, which is Ajman, you will see these prices obviously increase. But let's just take a quick look at the mid-tier market locations. This would be Ajman 1 and some parts of Al Rashidiyah. That's near the city centre. Now, there the one bedrooms would start from around 320 mark up to just over 500,000, and the two bedrooms from just under 500,000 all the way up to around 750. But again, Ajman also has nice premium locations too, and those higher value or waterfront locations would be in selected Corniche towers, where one bedrooms start at just under 500,000, go up to 800,000, and two beds from around 700,000 to 1.2 million.
All right, I know that there is a lot of numbers being thrown at you, but we know just how much you enjoy finding out these different price points because, hey, everybody has a price point and you want to know the cheapest price point right up to the luxury side of things. That gives you a little bit of a breakdown.
Don't forget to subscribe. We have so many episodes, all designed to help you better understand the constantly evolving and dynamically changing real estate property market.
If interest rates were purely responsible for price movements, then you would not have had booms in sort of Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth in 2023 when rates were still rising. Melbourne should have taken off in 2025 when rates started falling, So I think what we need to recognise is that Australia is more than just one property market.
It's arguably a less volatile year than the previous year, which kind of makes us wonder where we're going to land next year. But anything that really stands out for you as you look back over this year?
For the first time, I think, since 2021, we saw every single market across the country in growth mode. Now, some of those were minuscule growth numbers and different segments of the market. So overwhelmingly, lowest quartile was performing the strongest, and that can be put down potentially to the first home buyers, the 5% deposit scheme being extended. But that's really unusual to see every single market in positive territory.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.